All right, it's December 1st, 2025. And if you're anywhere in Tamil Nadu, you've probably been keeping a close eye on the weather, waiting for this thing called Cyclone Tithwa. But here's the twist. The big story isn't about the storm that hit us, but the one that just fizzled out. So what on earth happened? Let's get into it.
Right? That's the question on everyone's mind. We were all gearing up for a powerful cyclone, and then, well, what we got was totally different. The key to understanding this whole thing is to look at what the storm is right now.
Okay, so first things first, Cyclone Tifla isn't actually a cyclone anymore. That's the most important thing to know. It lost a ton of its power as it got closer to the coast and basically morphed into something else.
So what is it then? Well, the official name for it now is a deep depression. You can kind of think of it like a car that's run out of gas. The engine's not really running anymore, the winds have died way down, but it's still rolling and has enough momentum to bring some rain. It's just not packing that same cyclonic punch.
And we know exactly where it is. I mean, check this out. As of this morning, the system's center was sitting right here, just off the coast near Mahabalipuram. So yeah, it's knocking on our door, but it's definitely not the scary visitor we were all bracing for.
Now, this part is really key. The system has pretty much just stopped. It's like it's dropped anchor right there off the coast. The forecast says it's just going to sit there for the next 48 hours, slowly losing what little energy it has left. So don't expect it to come barreling inland. It's just going to dissolve right where it is.
So, that leads us to the real mystery here. Why? Why did this big, powerful cyclone just fizzle out? Why didn't we get those torrential rains that everyone was talking about? Well, the answer is pretty cool, actually. It's all because of this invisible battle that was happening way up in the atmosphere.
Okay, so try to picture this. It's like two weather systems colliding head-on. Coming in from the east, you've got Tithwa's clouds, all loaded up with moisture. But coming from the complete opposite direction, from the west, is this stream of really dry, cool air. It's something called a western disturbance. And when these two met, that dry air basically acted like a giant knife, just slicing through the top of the cyclone. Meteorologists call this wind shear, and it just completely shredded the storm's structure. It choked off its power source before it ever had a chance to dump all that rain on us.
You know, someone used this metaphor that is just perfect for describing what was left. They called it a dry skeleton. How vivid is that? It paints such a clear picture, right? The framework of the storm is kind of still there, but the lifeblood, all that moisture and rain, it's just gone.
So, is there proof of this? Does the data actually show this happening?
Oh, absolutely. Let's take a look at the hard numbers, the rainfall we actually got over the last 24 hours. This really tells the story.
And yep, the numbers don't lie. Look at this. The highest amounts were around Thiruvangadhu and Tharangabadi, topping out at just over 30 millimeters. Down in Chennai, some places got less than 15. I mean, sure, that's enough to make it a rainy day, but it is nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to the hundreds of millimeters a real cyclone can bring. It fits that dry skeleton idea perfectly.
All right, so what does all this mean for you and me over the next couple of days? Let's break down the forecast while this system slowly disappears. For Tamil Nadu, it's really a story of north versus south. If you're in the northern coastal areas, Chennai, Tiruvallur, Kanchipuram, you can expect more of this kind of moderate on-again, off-again rain. The only spot that might see a quick, heavy downpour is way up in the northernmost part of Tiruvallur district. But as you head inland and towards the south, like Salem or Trichy, it'll be moderate, and by the time you get to Madurai or Kanyakumari, you're just looking at some light rain and cloudy skies.
Now here's a funny thing. While the storm really weakened for us, some of that leftover moisture is actually getting pushed over to our neighbors. Southern Andhra Pradesh, especially around Nellore and Tirupati, could see some pretty heavy rain from this. Central Kerala is also looking at some moderate to heavy showers. But for places like Bengaluru and Mysore and Karnataka, it's probably just going to be a little bit of light rain. Nothing major.
Okay, I know that was a lot of weather science talk, so let's boil it all down. What are the most important things you need to remember from all of this?
So, here's the bottom line. First, Cyclone Thithwa has weakened a lot. It is not a major threat. Second, this happened because of that western disturbance, that dry air that basically stopped the heavy rain in its tracks. Third, what you should expect is moderate rain, especially in North Tamil Nadu and South Andhra, but not a huge flood-causing downpour. And finally, this whole system is just going to hang out by the coast for the next 2 days and then fade away. Simple as that.
You know, this whole thing is a fascinating reminder that weather is never simple. It's almost always about multiple systems interacting, sometimes in unexpected ways. Titiwaba wasn't just a storm acting on its own. It was one player in a much bigger atmospheric collision. And that kind of leaves us with a really interesting question to think about, doesn't it? If we're going to see more of these kinds of weather system battles, how does that change the way we predict and prepare for future storms? Definitely something to chew on.